Have you ever felt an enemy's gaze probing, trying to pierce your armor, only to be met with enigmatic silence? Picture this moment. You stand there, not a single threat uttered, no flashy gesture, yet they start to falter, their mind clouded with doubt. True power doesn't need to roar. It's a cold breeze that cuts through, quiet but sharp, leaving others wondering, what's behind this stillness? Imagine a wild beast in the deep forest. It doesn't need to growl or charge. Its piercing eyes and motionless stance alone make its rival tremble. Or think of a chess grandmaster, sitting calmly at the board, lips sealed, while their opponent sweats, mind unraveling, unable to predict the next move. That's the essence of silent strength, a subtle weapon that makes enemies fear not what you say, but what they can't comprehend. Today, we'll dive into 7 Stoic strategies of silence, secrets that help you build an unshakable presence and make your enemies, whether workplace rivals, life's adversaries, or even the doubting voices in your mind, tread carefully. This isn't about aggression or showboating. It's a journey to master your inner world, turning calm into ultimate strength. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Join me on this path where silence isn't just the absence of sound, but the spark of fear in your opponent's heart. Are you ready to make the world bow to your stillness? Let's get started. When you felt the power of silence, like a wild beast standing still, making its rival tremble, or a chess grandmaster unnerving their opponent with mere quiet, have you ever wondered what makes that silence truly formidable? It's not just the absence of words, it's the presence of an authentic self, unguarded and unfeigned. This is the first strategy to make your stillness an invincible foundation. Live true to yourself without regret. In a world loud with clamors for validation, authenticity is a quiet flame, unshowy but fierce enough to make others hesitate. Imagine walking through a room, not trying to please anyone, not shrinking to avoid standing out. You are you, with all your edges and uniqueness that no one can copy. That doesn't just free you from the chains of public opinion. It unnerves your enemies. They fear someone who doesn't crave approval because they can't manipulate or crush a person who doesn't live for their gaze. Stoic philosophy lights this path. The Stoics believed living true to your nature and values is the key to inner freedom. They taught that when you stop chasing validation, you find an unshakable peace, and that peace itself is power. Listen to the story of Jake. He used to live like a shadow, tweaking every word and action to please others, laughing at lame jokes, hiding his achievements to avoid attention. But with each passing day, he felt himself shrink, like a candle flickering in the wind. Then one day, Jake decided to change. He shed his fake shell, started speaking his mind, stood up for his beliefs, and didn't care who agreed. What happened next? The people who once dismissed him began to look at him differently, not with hostility, but with respect. His authenticity was like a sturdy rock in a rushing stream, immovable by anyone. So, how do you live authentically? First, stop seeking validation. Your worth doesn't come from others' praise, but from who you are. Next, embrace your uniqueness. What sets you apart isn't a flaw, it's the spark that defines you. Finally, live by your standards, not someone else's rules. When you do this, you not only build an unshakable foundation for yourself, but also send a silent, razor-sharp message. I am me, and nothing can change that. Your enemies will feel it, not through words, but through the radiant freedom you exude. Are you ready to drop the mask? Once you shed your mask to live authentically, standing firm like a rock against the rushing current of public opinion, have you ever wondered how to turn that authenticity into a force? Not just one that makes enemies wary, but one that commands their respect? Living true is the first step, but stopping there leaves it as a silent flame, beautiful, yet not enough to shift the world around you. The next strategy elevates that stillness. Let your actions speak for you. In a world drowning in loud promises and boasts, action is the hammer forging your sharpest sword. No words needed, but strong enough to slice through all doubt. Picture yourself as a blacksmith, not bragging about the sword you'll craft, but quietly hammering, sharpening steel in the glow of the fire. When the sword is finished, no one dares question your skill. It's sharp, solid, and needs no hype. Your actions are your truest voice, undeniable proof of your strength, discipline, and will. Stoic philosophy illuminates this. The Stoics believed character isn't built through empty words, but through steady, persistent action. They understood that when you live your values through what you do, you don't need to explain. The world will see it for itself. Listen to the story of Bob. He used to be a man of big words, talking about dreams, painting grand visions of success to anyone who'd listen. But as months passed, those promises were just hot air, and people started eyeing him with doubt. Bob realized the truth. Words don't make you. Actions do. So he stopped boasting. He started working day after day, hour after hour, with a grit no one saw. When the results came, a project finished, a goal crushed, those who'd mocked him went quiet, their smirks turning to respect. Bob's actions needed no defense. They spoke for him, louder than any speech could. So, how do you make your actions your wordless voice? First, focus on consistency. Small, steady steps will carry you to great heights. Next, chase excellence. Don't just get things done. Do them as well as you can, so everything you touch bears the mark of your dedication. Finally, build resilience. When life throws obstacles your way, get up and keep moving, because that tenacity is what makes enemies take notice. When you let your actions speak, you don't just prove your worth to the world, you send a silent but steel-hard message. I don't make empty promises, I deliver. Your enemies will feel that weight, not through words, but through what you quietly build. Are you ready to act instead of just talk? When your actions have spoken for you, forging a sharp sword through consistency and grit, have you ever wondered how to shield that blade from prying eyes and grasping hands eager to steal the strength you've quietly built? Actions are a resounding testament, but if your enemies know too much, your plans, weaknesses, or intentions, they'll try to break it before it can shine. The next strategy elevates your silence to a new height. Control what others know about you. Become a thick fog. No one can see your true shape, but everyone feels the mysterious weight you carry. Think of a silent night. No one knows what hides in the dark, and that uncertainty makes it fearsome. When you keep your thoughts, plans, or weaknesses close, you strip away the tools enemies might use to manipulate you. They can't predict your next move, can't find a crack to strike, and that leaves them disoriented. Stoic philosophy, though rooted in figures like Marcus Aurelius, finds an echo in Sun Tzu's teaching. Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. True power lies not in bearing all, but in the wisdom to choose what you reveal. Mystery isn't deception. It's the art of holding back a piece of yourself like a precious gem locked deep in a chest. Listen to the story of Evan. He used to be an open book, sharing every joy, sorrow, and workplace struggle with colleagues, believing openness would breed trust. But then he learned a hard lesson. What he revealed became sharp knives others wielded against him. If he mentioned a tough project, they'd question his competence. If he admitted stress, they'd pile on more. Evan decided to change. He closed the door to his soul, keeping his thoughts and battles private. What happened? His colleagues no longer knew how to handle him. His mystery made them cautious, and respect slowly replaced their former jabs. So, how do you turn mystery into your weapon? First, be deliberate about what you share. Not everyone deserves entry to your inner world, and holding back isn't cold, it's wise. Next, embrace unpredictability. When others can't anticipate your reactions or plans, they lose their grip on you. Finally, wield power strategically. Reveal only when it serves you, like a hidden card flipped at the perfect moment. When you control what's known, you not only guard your peace, but send a silent, chilling message. You'll never fully know me. Your enemies will feel it, not through words, but through the fog you've woven around yourself. Are you ready to keep your soul's gems locked away? After weaving a veil of mystery around yourself, have you ever wondered what happens when enemies try to pierce it with sharp words, arrows called insults, sarcasm, or doubt? In that moment, when a biting remark rings out, your instinct urges you to strike back, defend your honor, or at least quell the anger surging within. But hold on a second. What if I told you true power lies not in a roaring comeback, but in a stillness as calm as an unruffled lake? This is the next strategy to make your enemies falter. Don't overreact to insults. It's not weakness, but an invisible sword, indifference, that severs any hold they think they have over you. Picture a fierce wind tearing through a forest. Trees may bend, but the rock in the stream stands firm, untouched. When you let insults pass without grazing your soul, you reclaim control. Every time you react with anger or hurt, you unwittingly hand them a rope to yank you from your peace. But when you choose indifference, you cut that rope. They want to see you waver to hear you shout. And when you deny them that, they're rattled. Stoic philosophy lights this path through Epictetus's words. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Staying calm amid a storm of words doesn't just shield you, it makes your enemies doubt themselves. Why can't I get to this person? Listen to the story of Jane. She worked in a place thick with sarcasm. Colleagues often tossed cruel jabs, mocking her in front of others. At first, Jane fought back. She argued, explained, tried to prove herself right. But each time, she only felt drained, while her enemies grew smugger. Then one day, Jane changed. When the next insult came, she didn't frown or retort. She just gave a faint smile, stayed silent, and kept working. What happened? Her attackers grew flustered, like someone tossing stones into a lake and seeing no ripples. Eventually, they stopped. Not because they changed, but because they didn't know what to do with her calm. So, how do you turn indifference into your shield? First, practice self-awareness. When an insult hits, take a deep breath. Feel it, but don't let it sweep you away. Next, Master your response. Instead of letting emotions erupt, let them quietly dissolve like clouds drifting across the sky. Finally, choose silence. Not every word deserves your reply, and sometimes indifference is the sharpest answer. When you do this, you not only preserve your inner peace, but send a silent, ironclad message: your words have no power over me. Your enemies will feel it, not through arguments, but through the steady calm you hold. Are you ready to turn insults into a passing breeze? If indifference is the shield that guards you against insults, what happens when you take it further? Not just standing firm, but quietly building your empire. Imagine you're an artist painting your life's greatest masterpiece. No one knows you're holding the brush. No one sees your early sketches. But when the canvas is unveiled, the world bows to its undeniable beauty. This is the next strategy to leave your enemies stunned. Make power moves in silence. No fanfare, no declarations. You let your results roar like thunder from a clear sky, forcing everyone to turn and look. In a world where people rush to broadcast their plans, sharing every idea before it blooms, silence is a rare weapon. When you announce what you're about to do, you unwittingly open the door to doubt, criticism, or even sabotage from those who don't want you to succeed. But when you stay quiet, you become an underground river, flowing powerfully beneath the surface, unseen until it splits the hardest rock. Stoic philosophy illuminates this through Epictetus's words. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. You don't need to shout about your ambitions. Let your quiet actions be the proof. Let your success tell a story no one can deny. Listen to the story of Anne. She used to be a sharer, every goal, every plan laid bare to friends and colleagues as if going public would speed her along. But then she faced a harsh truth. Each time she spoke, others' doubts clouded her light like a storm. They offered unwanted opinions, asked questions that made her hesitate. Anne chose to change. She kept her dreams to herself, working quietly each day. No one knew what she was up to until the results emerged. When she hit her goal, those who doubted her went silent, their skeptical glances turning to awe. Anne's success needed no explanation. It spoke for her, louder than any announcement could. So, how do you make power moves in silence? First, keep your plans close. Every word you speak opens a door to distraction, so lock it and focus on the work. Next, pour your energy into action. Don't waste it on talk. Let it fuel every step you take. Finally, let your results be your voice. When you succeed, no one can argue with what you've quietly built. When you do this, you not only move closer to your goals, but send a silent, commanding message. I don't need anyone to know until I've won. Your enemies will feel it, not through the noise you make, but through the explosive strength of your stillness. Are you ready to paint your masterpiece in silence? If silent power moves are how you quietly build your victory, what happens when you step into the light, not to boast, but to stand firm like a mountain in a storm? Picture walking into a room, saying nothing, making no grand gestures, yet every eye turns to you, as if the air grows heavier with your presence. This is the next strategy to make your enemies wary. Maintain an unwavering presence. It's not about loud words or flashy actions, but a quiet confidence, like sunlight breaking through clouds. No announcement needed, yet no one can ignore it. Imagine an ancient tree in an open field. It doesn't sway to prove its strength, doesn't need the wind to affirm its existence. It just stands, roots deep in the earth, branches reaching high, and that's enough to make everything around it yield. An unwavering presence is a confidence that needs no words, no validation from others. When you know your worth, when you stand tall with calm and purpose, people feel it, not through what you say, but through how you exist. Stoic philosophy, often tied to figures like Marcus Aurelius, finds harmony in Lao Tzu's words. Silence is a source of great strength. The stillness in your stride, in the way your eyes meet the world, is your loudest voice. Listen to the story of John. He wasn't the loudest in a crowd, never fought to speak, never chased attention. But whenever John showed up, something shifted in the air. His posture was straight like a spear, his step slow but sure, his gaze calm yet piercing. People didn't need to hear him talk to know who he was. His presence was a lighthouse in a dark sea, guiding without a sound. Those who once dismissed him grew quiet, not because he argued back, but because they felt small before his wordless confidence. John didn't need to shout for respect. He just had to be himself, and that was enough. So, how do you maintain an unwavering presence? First, hold your posture. Stand tall, shoulders open, like a warrior who never bows to the wind. Next, move with purpose. Each step a silent declaration that you own your space. Finally, let silence speak. No explanations, no flash, just your steady presence is enough to command. When you do this, you not only make enemies rethink, but send a silent, authoritative message. I'm here, and I don't need to prove a thing. They'll feel it, not through noise, but through the weight of the stillness you carry. Are you ready to stand like a mountain in the storm? If an unwavering presence is the mountain that makes enemies gaze upward, what happens when the storm rages not just outside, but within your very soul? Picture a moment. A cutting taunt sharp as a blade, a scornful glance, or a sudden failure piercing you like an arrow. Yet through all that chaos you stand firm, your heart as calm as a deep river under a starless night. This is the final strategy, the pinnacle that makes enemies not just wary, but awestruck. Master your emotions. It's not a wall shutting out the world, but an inner flame, burning bright, unquenchable by anyone. A strength that renders every attack meaningless against your serene calm. Imagine you're a sailor on a stormy sea, waves roaring, wind howling through every crevice, yet your hands grip the helm steadily, your eyes fixed forward. When enemies try to provoke you with words, actions, or any tactic, reacting with anger or despair hands them the reins. But when you master your emotions, you hold the helm of your soul, letting no wave drag you from your peaceful shore. Stoic philosophy lights this path through Marcus Aurelius's words. The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Calmness isn't weakness or apathy. It's a cold breeze sweeping through, making enemies tremble when they realize they can't shake you. Listen to the story of Tom. He worked in a high-pressure environment where colleagues constantly provoked him. A sarcastic jab in a meeting, a sly remark behind his back. At first, Tom reacted. He argued, letting anger flare like a wildfire, but each time he only felt weaker while his enemies smirked. Then Tom realized a truth. Every reaction was a gift he handed them. He chose to change. The next time a taunt came, he took a deep breath, stayed silent, and let his mind settle. The result? Those who attacked him lost their spark. They didn't know what to do with someone who couldn't be rattled. Tom's calm didn't just shield him, it turned him into an untouchable fortress. So, how do you master your emotions? turning them into the pinnacle of your strength. First, identify your triggers. What throws you off balance, and why? Understand them, and you'll see they're not as powerful as you thought. Next, practice stillness. When the storm hits, breathe deeply. Count to 5. Let emotions pass like leaves on a stream. Finally, see control as power. Not reacting doesn't make you weak. It makes you mighty, because no one can drag you down. When you do this, you don't just weather challenges. You send a silent but thunderous message. I am the master of my soul, and nothing can defeat me. Your enemies will feel it, not through roars, but through the invincibility you radiate. Are you ready to hold the helm steady in the storm? From the stillness that masters your soul amid the storm, you've traveled a journey, not to roar or dominate, but to stand firm like a lighthouse in the midnight sea, its light guiding lost ships without a word. These 7 Stoic strategies, living true like an unquenchable flame, letting actions echo louder than words, weaving a veil of mystery, turning indifference into a shield, making power moves in silence, maintaining an unwavering presence, and mastering emotions like a sailor in raging waves, have brought you to a truth. Real strength lies not in external noise, but in the peace and authority you cultivate within. This isn't just about making enemies wary. It's the path to becoming an invincible version of yourself. Imagine a quiet morning when you wake up no longer swayed by the winds of opinion or pierced by arrows of doubt. You walk with a silent confidence, knowing each action, each moment of stillness is a brick in the fortress of your inner strength. Stoic philosophy doesn't promise a world without challenges. It gives you wings to soar above them, feet to stand firm through them. Each strategy is an anchor, holding you steady against life's waves. And the most beautiful part, when you live this way, you don't just transform yourself. You plant seeds of stillness, inspiring those around you to look inward and discover their own strength. Think about this. If today you pick one strategy, maybe staying silent in the face of an insult or quietly starting a small but steady action, what could change in your life? I've seen it happen with people like Jake, Bob, Evan, Jane, Ann, John, and Tom. Each found strength in stillness, turning challenges into springboards. And now, it's your turn. This isn't the end, but a start of an invincible journey where you master your life, not with shouts, but with a silent, irresistible presence. Take one small step today, feel the shift, and let it ripple outward. If this journey has touched you, if you see value in the stillness Stoicism offers, leave a mark, a like, a thank you in the comments, and subscribe so we can keep exploring together. The power isn't in my telling of this story, but in how you live it. You're not alone. We're walking this path together, day by day, moment by moment. So, where will you start? Take that quiet flame in your hands and let it guide you to invincibility. Thank you for joining me. Now it's time for you to shine in your own way.